The Galactic Academy's cafeteria hummed with the usual cacophony of 100 different species attempting to coexist. Susan Martinez sat at a corner table, methodically working through her meal-synthesized protein that vaguely resembled chicken, while reviewing her xenobiology notes on her datapad. Across from her, Evan Chen was attempting to explain human humor to a confused Zentari exchange student. "So the chicken crosses the road," Evan said, grinning, "because it wants to get to the other side. That's it. That's the joke." The Zentari's translucent face membrane rippled with confusion. "But why is this humorous?" "The motivation is logical." Susan smiled despite herself. 3 months at the academy, and they were still the only 2 humans in a student body of over 5,000. Earth was the newest member of the Galactic Coalition, and humans were Curiosity's primitive deathworlders who'd somehow stumbled into faster-than-light travel. That's when Crawhawks made his entrance. The Vorkan was massive by most species standards, nearly 7 feet tall, with 4 arms ending in clawed appendages and chitinous armor plates covering his torso. By human standards, he was just another bully with a bad attitude. He'd made Susan and Evan's lives miserable since orientation, seemingly offended by their very existence. "Still polluting our cafeteria, Deathworlders?" Crawhawks's translator rendered his clicking speech into harsh, guttural syllables. His entourage, 2 Skrell and another Vorkan, flanked him with matching sneers. Evan started to stand, but Susan touched his arm. "Ignore him." But Crawhawks wasn't in an ignoring mood. He strode forward, his 3-clawed hand reaching out and grabbing Susan's collar, yanking her halfway across the table. Her datapad clattered to the floor. "I'm speaking to you, primitive," he hissed, pulling her closer to his mandible-flanked mouth. "You don't belong here. Neither of you do. You're from a backwater planet that should still be." What happened next occurred in less than 2 seconds, but the security footage would be analyzed for weeks afterward. Susan's hand shot up and grabbed Crawhawks's wrist, not the hand holding her collar, but the wrist attached to it. Her fingers, small and seemingly delicate compared to his armored appendage, found the joint between chitinous plates and squeezed. The sound Crawhawks made wasn't translatable. It was pure, primal agony. Susan's grip tightened. The Vorkan's exoskeleton, evolved on a planet with 0.7 Earth gravity, wasn't designed to withstand the crushing pressure from a species that had evolved in a gravity well 50% stronger. The chitinous plate cracked. The joint beneath it collapsed. Crawhawks released her immediately, but Susan didn't let go. She stood calmly, still gripping his wrist, and met his compound eyes with a level stare. "You're hurting yourself," she said quietly. "You should probably stop pulling." The Vorkan tried to jerk away. Another crack. Another scream. "Susan," Evan said warningly. Now, on his feet, the entire cafeteria had gone silent. She released Crawhawks's wrist. He stumbled backward, cradling his shattered appendage against his thorax, dark ichor seeping between his claws. His entourage stared in shock. You've broken, that's assault," one of the Skrell stammered. "He grabbed her first," Evan said coldly, positioning himself between Susan and the group. Security arrived within moments, a team of Enforcer-caste Draxians who'd been monitoring the situation. The lead Enforcer, a veteran named Thixal, surveyed the scene with his 6 eyes. The human female defended herself when grabbed, Thixal stated, his mandibles clicking. "Medical team to Cafeteria Sector 7. Crawhawks of the Vorkan delegation. Requires immediate attention." The hearing took place 3 days later. Susan sat in the Academy's disciplinary council chamber, Evan beside her, while Crawhawks, his right upper limb encased in a regeneration sleeve, glared at her from across the room. The council consisted of 5 representatives from different species, each an expert in interspecies law. The chairwoman, a elderly Lyraxi named Sharanis, examined the security footage for what must have been the 100th time. "Human Susan Martinez," Sharanis began, her feathers ruffling thoughtfully. "You applied approximately 400 newtons of force to Crawhawks's wrist joint. By Vorkan standards, This is equivalent to being crushed by industrial machinery. Can you explain how you generated such force? Susan shrugged. I didn't think I was squeezing that hard. I was just holding him. The council members exchanged glances. One of them, a crystalline threne, chimed softly. Perhaps the humans do not understand. For most spacefaring species, such pressure is impossible without mechanical assistance. Your grip strength is unprecedented. Va. It's not, though, Evan interjected. It's normal. For humans, we evolved on a high-gravity world, with megafauna predators. We're omnivores who persistence hunted our prey across continents. Our grip strength evolved to climb, to fight, to hold on, when everything else told us to let go. Deathworlder advantages, Krahak spat. It's unfair. Grabbing someone by the collar is unfair, Susan countered. I didn't punch you. I didn't strike you. I just held your wrist until you let go of me. If your species biology makes you vulnerable to that, maybe you shouldn't put your hands on people. Sharonice's feathers smoothed as she made her decision. After reviewing all evidence, this council finds that Susan Martinez acted in proportionate self-defense. Krahawks initiated physical contact with aggressive intent. The injury sustained was due to species incompatibility, not excessive force. She turned her avian gaze to the Vorkan. Krahawks, you are hereby placed on disciplinary probation. Future harassment of any student will result in expulsion. 2 weeks later, Susan was in the academy gym, working through her usual routine. She'd just finished a set of pull-ups 50, which was maintenance for her but would have been impossible for 90% of the academy's students when she noticed she had an audience. About a dozen students from various species watched from a respectful distance. A small phoenix approached nervously. Excuse me, human Susan? Some of us were wondering. Could you teach us Deathworlder self-defense techniques? Susan glanced at Evan, who'd been spotting her deadlifts. He grinned. Looks like you started something. She smiled back. Sure. But first rule. We don't start fights. We just make sure we finish them. The phoenix's ears perked up. Understood. When do we begin? Right now, Susan said, gesturing to the training mats. Across the campus, in the medical wing, Krahawk stared at his regenerating limb and contemplated his life choices. The doctors said he'd recover fully in another month. He'd need every day of it to rebuild the reputation he'd shattered the moment he underestimated a Deathworlder.